The sun was shining bright over the large wedding hall. Everything looked perfect. White flowers decorated the chairs, and soft music played in the background. Guests in beautiful clothes smiled and laughed. It was a day of celebration. Inside the hall, people were waiting. Cameras were ready. The groom, wearing a black tuxedo, stood near the stage with a proud smile. His name was Zion, a rich businessman in his early 30s. He looked confident, waving at the guests as if everything belonged to him. Across the hall, the bride's room was full of women, makeup artists, and flowers. In the middle sat Ayla, the bride. She looked like a princess in her white wedding dress, with her hair tied up in soft curls. Her hands were decorated with mehndi, and her eyes were shining but not with happiness. Something was wrong. Ayla kept checking her phone. Her fingers were shaking. She looked around and then whispered to her friend, "Has he called?" "No," the friend said. "Ayla, you need to calm down. This is your big day. Everything is perfect." Ayla gave a weak smile but didn't speak. She stood up and walked to the mirror. She stared at her reflection. She looked beautiful, but inside, her heart felt heavy. Outside the bride's room, her father waited. Mr. Shah, a kind, gentle man, smiled proudly. His daughter was getting married into a wealthy family. This was a big day for him too, but only Ayla knew the truth. 2 days ago, she had received a message. It was from an unknown number. There was a photo attached. In the photo, Zion the groom was standing close to another woman. They were holding hands, smiling. At first, Ayla thought it was fake. Maybe someone was trying to ruin her wedding, but more photos came. And then a video. In the video, Zion was telling someone, "I'm not marrying her for love. It's business. Her father's company is part of the deal." That one sentence broke Ayla's heart. She wanted to tell her parents, but the wedding was just days away. So much money was spent. So many people were invited. Her father had taken loans to make the wedding grand. "I can't stop it now," Ayla had told herself. "Maybe I'm just nervous." But now, sitting in her wedding dress, those words kept repeating in her mind, "I'm not marrying her for love." Her phone buzzed again. Another message from the same unknown number. "You still have time. Don't make the biggest mistake of your life." Her hands started shaking again. She stood up, walked to the window, and looked outside. People were arriving, children were playing. Everything looked happy, but her heart was breaking. The door opened. Her mother walked in with a big smile. "It's time," she said. "Everyone is waiting." Ayla nodded slowly. Her legs felt heavy, like they didn't want to move. But she walked. The music changed. The wedding march began. All eyes turned to the entrance. There she was, Ayla, the beautiful bride. People stood up, clapping and smiling. Cameras clicked. Lights flashed. Ayla walked slowly toward the stage. Her father took her hand and smiled. "You look like your mother," he whispered. She smiled back, but it was weak. Her heart beat fast. As she reached the stage, Zion stepped forward. He took her hand and whispered, "Finally." His voice was full of pride. The priest began the ceremony. Ayla looked around. Her mother, her father, her friends. Everyone was watching her. Everyone was smiling, but no one knew the truth. No one knew she was about to marry a man who didn't love her. Her eyes moved toward the door. Just for a second. And then, she pulled her hand away. Everyone looked confused. The priest paused, said and frowned. "What are you doing?" Ayla didn't answer. She turned around and ran. Gasps filled the hall. People started whispering. Cameras followed her. Some guests stood in shock. Some were too stunned to speak. Mr. Shah called out, "Ayla, Ayla, what's happening?" But she didn't stop. She ran out of the hall, past the flowers, past the lights, past the crowd. Outside the air was cooler. Her heart was pounding. Her eyes were full of tears. She stopped near the gate and held the wall to catch her breath. A woman nearby saw her and asked, "Are you okay?" Ayla didn't look up. She just whispered, more to herself than to anyone else, "He was never going to love me." The woman's eyes widened. "What did you say?" Ayla looked up slowly. Her face was full of pain, but her voice was calm. "I was about to destroy my life. I just saved myself." Just then, a young man stepped out of a black car across the street. He had been watching everything. His face was serious. He held a phone in his hand. He walked slowly toward her. "Ayla," he said, "I'm glad you ran." She looked at him, surprised. "Who are you?" she asked. The man showed her the phone. On the screen was a video, the same one Ayla saw before. "I sent the messages," he said. Ayla's eyes filled with fresh tears. She whispered, "Why are you helping me?" The man didn't answer right away. He looked at her with kind eyes and said, "Because no one else did." Ayla stood quietly near the gate of the wedding hall. Her white dress moved with the wind. Her heart was still racing. The guests inside were confused. Some were angry, some were shocked, but Ayla felt something different. Relief. The young man stood beside her. He didn't smile. His eyes were soft but serious. He looked like someone she should know but couldn't remember. "You sent me the videos," Ayla said softly. He nodded. "Why?" she asked again. The man paused, then spoke in a calm voice. "Because I couldn't watch you walk into a trap." Ayla stared at him. "Who are you?" "My name is Rayan," he said. "We went to the same college. You probably don't remember me." She looked again. His face did feel familiar, but she was too stressed to think. I didn't know who else to trust, Rayan said. So I found your number through a friend. I sent you the truth. Isla slowly sat down on a bench near the garden. Her dress dragged behind her like a heavy burden. Her face looked tired. Rayyan sat beside her and said nothing for a moment. Then he took out his phone again. This is not the only video, he said. He opened a folder. More photos, more messages. A voice note. In the voice note, Groom was speaking to a friend. I'll get her father's shares after marriage. That's the goal. Isla, she's sweet, but too soft. She'll believe anything I say. Isla closed her eyes. Her hand covered her mouth. Tears started to fall down her cheeks. I was just scared, she whispered. Maybe I was overthinking. Rayan looked down. You weren't. I've been watching Zion for months. You weren't his first target. He tried to trap another girl before, but she got lucky. Isla wiped her tears and asked, why are you doing this for me? Rayan hesitated, then said, quietly, because I know what it feels like to be ignored when you cry for help. Ayla's eyes met his. For the first time that day, she saw truth. No lies, no fake smiles, just truth. Inside the wedding hall, things were getting out of control. Zayan was angry. Where is she? She'll come back. She's just nervous, he said to the guests. But Mr. Shah, Ayla's father, was panicking. What's going on? Why did she run? Zion walked away from the crowd and took out his phone. He called Isla. She didn't pick up. He called again. Still no answer. Then he texted, come back. You're embarrassing everyone. Isla saw the message. She held the phone for a long time. Her hand shook. Rayan looked at her. You don't have to go back. You did the right thing. But my father, she whispered. He spent everything. On this wedding, he'll be broken. Rayan looked her in the eyes. A broken truth is better than a perfect lie. Isla closed her eyes again. Memories came rushing back. Her father working late to pay for the wedding. Her mother choosing the dress with tears in her eyes. Her own heart whispering, this doesn't feel right. And still, she had stayed silent. I should have told them earlier, she said. I waited too long. Rayan gently said, no, you left before it was too late. That's what matters. Suddenly, a security guard walked up to them. Miss Ala, your father is looking for you. Everyone is worried. Should I call him? Ala stood up slowly. She looked toward the wedding hall. The lights still sparkled. The music had stopped. People were standing outside, whispering that. She took a deep breath. I'll go, she said, but not to return to the stage. Rayan asked, what will you do? Isla looked stronger now. Tell my father the truth. Then, I'll expose Zion in front of everyone. Rayan nodded. I'll be with you. Isla looked at him, surprised. You don't have to. I want to, he said. You're not alone anymore. She gave him a small, sad smile. For the first time in days, Isla didn't feel scared. She felt ready. She took one step toward the hall, but behind them, a black car pulled up quietly. A man in dark sunglasses stepped out. He walked to the side of the building and made a call. It's done. She knows, he said. Then he smiled, but not kindly. Isla and Rayan stood near the entrance of the wedding hall. Isla's hands were cold, but her heart felt stronger now. She had made her decision. She would not go back to that stage and pretend. She would speak the truth, no matter what. Rayan looked at her and said, are you sure you want to do this? Isla nodded. Yes, it's time. She took a step forward. But suddenly, a deep voice called out from behind, Miss Isla. Both of them turned. A man stood there tall, wearing a dark gray suit and sunglasses. He looked older, maybe in his 40s. He had a serious face, and spoke in a polite but firm tone. Isla frowned. Yes, I'm from Mr. Zion's security team, the man said. We were sent to make sure everything is okay. Rayan stepped forward. She doesn't need help. She's fine. The man looked at Rayan carefully. And you are? Rayan didn't answer. The man's eyes narrowed. I suggest you don't get involved in family matters, sir. Isla took a breath. He's not a stranger. He's my friend, and I don't want to go back inside. The man smiled, but it was a cold smile. Miss Isla, everyone is waiting. Your father is very worried, and Mr. Zion, well, you know how much he cares about you. Allah's face changed. Her voice became firmer. No, he doesn't care about me. He cares about my father's business. That's all. The man paused for a second, then said softly, I think you've misunderstood things. Rayan moved closer. No, she hasn't. We have proof. The man gave Rayan a long, hard look, and then walked away slowly, speaking into a small earpiece. Rayan whispered, that man wasn't just security. He's watching us. Be careful. Ala nodded. Her eyes followed the man as he disappeared behind a pillar near the hall. Suddenly, her phone rang again. It was her father. She answered quickly. Papa, Ayla. Mr. Shah's voice was full of worry. Where are you? Beta. Why did you run? Ayla's throat tightened. Papa, I need to tell you something. Please come outside. Come alone. He paused. What's going on? Please, just come. Trust me, Mr. Shah agreed. Okay, I'm coming. Rayan and Ayla waited quietly near a small garden outside the wedding hall. Just then, they heard footsteps. But it wasn't Mr. Shah. Another man was walking toward them, young, maybe age, wearing a black hoodie and jeans. Rayhan narrowed his eyes. Who's that? The man stopped a few feet away. He had messy hair, a tired face, and a strange look in his eyes. He looked at Ayla, then at Rayhan. Then he said something no one expected. Don't trust him. Ayla looked confused. Who? The man pointed at Rayhan. Him. Don't trust anything he says. Rayhan stepped forward quickly. What are you talking about? Who are you? The man looked at Ayla. Ask him who he really is. Ask him why he's really here. Ayla turned to Rayhan. Is he lying? Rayhan looked shocked. I have no idea who this man is. The stranger smiled. Really? Then let's ask Ayla this. Did he ever tell you how he got your number? Ayla blinked. You said you got it from a friend. Rayhan nodded. The stranger laughed. A friend? Or from the company database? Ayla's eyes widened. What? The man continued. Rayhan worked for Zion last year. In his office, he knows how Zion does business. He knows everything. Ayla turned to Rayhan again. Is that true? Rayhan's face froze. He didn't answer at first. Then slowly said, yes. I worked in Zion's company, but I left when I found out what he was doing. That's why I helped you. The stranger crossed his arms. Or maybe you're just part of a bigger plan. Ayla's head spun. Everything felt confusing again. Rayhan looked at her. Ayla, I swear, I left that world behind. I only came to warn you. Ayla didn't know what to believe. Just then, her father arrived. He saw her and ran forward. Ayla, thank God you're safe. She hugged him tightly. Papa, there's something you need to see. She took out her phone, but Mr. Shah looked at the two men and frowned. Who are these people? The stranger stepped back. I've said what I needed to say. He turned around and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Mr. Shah looked at Rayhan. And you, Rayhan said, I'm someone who wants your daughter to know the truth. Mr. Shah looked confused, but followed Ayla toward the corner. She opened her phone and played the video. Zion's voice filled the air. I'll get her father's shares after marriage. That's the goal. Mr. Shah's face turned pale. He slowly sat down on the bench and held his head. Ayla sat beside him and held his hand. I'm sorry, Papa. I didn't know how to tell you. Mr. Shah didn't speak for a while. Then he said, I trusted that man. I was going to give him everything. Ayla looked at Rayhan, who stood quietly a few steps away. I don't know who to trust anymore, she whispered. Behind them, the camera from a wedding guest's phone recorded everything from a distance, and the video was already uploading. Online, inside the wedding hall, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Guests looked around in confusion. The bride had run out. The groom stood alone on the stage, trying to smile, but his hands were shaking. His perfect day was falling apart. Zahoyan walked off the stage and pulled out his phone. Still no reply from Ayla. His best friend Ramiz followed him. Bro, what's happening? Ramiz whispered. She ran out in front of everyone. Zion gave a fake smile. She's just nervous. You know, girls? But Ramiz didn't look convinced. You sure that's it? Zion's smile disappeared. He grabbed Ramiz's arm and pulled him into a side room, away from the guests. She knows something, Zion said in a low voice. I don't know how, but she knows. Ramiz frowned. Knows what? Zion looked angry about the deal. The shares, the real reason I was marrying her. Ramiz stepped back. You told me that was under control. I thought it was. Zion hissed. Someone's messing with me. Just then, his phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. Your lies are over. The video is spreading. Zion's face turned white. He opened the link. It was the video. The one where he said, I'll get her father's shares after marriage. His voice, his face, everything was clear. No, he whispered. Ramiz looked at the screen. You're finished. Zion threw the phone across the room. I need to stop this now. Meanwhile, outside the hall, Ayla sat with her father. Mr. Shah was quiet, his eyes filled with disbelief. The video had broken something inside him. Years of trust, gone in seconds. I wanted to give him control of half the company, he whispered. I thought he would take care of you. Ayla held his hand. It's not your fault, Papa. He fooled everyone. Rayhan stood nearby, silent, letting them talk, but his eyes were watching everything. Just then, a woman in a pink dress walked out of the hall and spotted them. It was Zion's cousin Miwish. She looked nervous. Ayla, Uncle Shah, I think you need to know something else. They turned to her, she looked around and then whispered, I heard Zion talking to someone yesterday. He said if you ever found out the truth, he had a backup plan. Ayla's heart dropped. What plan? Melish looked at Rayhan, then back at them. I don't know exactly, but he mentioned something about a fake contract. Something that makes him look innocent. Mr. Shah frowned. A fake contract. Miwish nodded. He's going to make it look like your company offered him shares before the engagement. That way, it won't seem like he used Ayla. Rayhan stepped forward. He's trying to cover his tracks. Ayla looked at her father. Can you prove it's fake? Mr. Shah nodded slowly. I never signed any contract like that. But proving it will take time, Rayhan said. Then we don't have much time. He'll try to make you look like the liar. Back inside the hall, Zion was already talking to his lawyer on the phone. I need that paper signed and ready now, he shouted. I don't care how you do it. Just make it look real. Outside, Rayhan got another message on his phone. From an unknown number. You think you're the hero, but you have secrets too. He showed it to Ayla. Someone's trying to scare me now. She looked at him. Who would do that? Rayan didn't answer. His mind was racing. Suddenly Isla's mother came outside. Her face was full of worry. Isla, people are saying things inside. That you ran away with another man. That Zion is innocent. Ayla's eyes widened. What? They're showing a paper. Something with your father's name. Zion says it proves he didn't marry for business. Rayan's eyes burned with anger. He's twisting the story already. Mr. Shah stood up. We need to go in there and end this. Ayla took a deep breath. Her hands were cold again, but her voice was calm. Yes, she said. Let's show everyone the truth. Let's end his lies. Right now. But just before they entered the hall, someone else arrived. A woman wearing black, holding a file in her hand. She looked at Isla. You don't know me, she said. But I know Zion very well. Isla blinked. Who are you? The woman looked at her and said clearly, I was supposed to marry him. 3 years ago, he destroyed my life too. Isla froze. Rayan stepped forward. What? The woman held up the file. And I have proof. Isla stood frozen as the mysterious woman in black handed her the file. I'm sorry to come like this, the woman said softly, but I saw the video online. I knew I had to speak. Isla opened the file slowly. Inside were printed emails, screenshots, and photos. All showed Zion with this same woman. Her name was Sarah. I met him 3 years ago, Sarah explained. He told me the same lies, that he loved me, that he wanted to marry me, but after 6 months, he disappeared. Rayan asked, why? Sarah looked down. Because my father lost his money. Zion had no use for me after that. Mr. Shah, hands clenched. This man is a snake. Isla turned the pages. The evidence was clear. Zion had a pattern. He searched for rich families. He gained their trust, got close to the daughters, and then made business deals through marriage. Did you ever go to the police? Rayan asked. I tried, Sarah said. But Zion's family is powerful. No one listened to me. Isla felt her heart breaking again this time, not for herself, but for the other girl who had suffered before her. She looked at her father. I can't stay quiet, Papa, not anymore. Mr. Shah nodded. I'm with you. Rayan stepped forward. The guests are still inside. If we wait too long, lies will become the truth. Sarah looked unsure. Are you sure you want to do this in front of everyone? Isla stood tall. Yes, I'm not running anymore. Back inside the wedding hall, Zion stood in front of the guests with a confident smile. He held a paper in one hand. My friends, he said loudly, I want to clear a small misunderstanding. Whispers spread across the room. He held up the paper. This contract proves that Mr. Shah offered me business shares long before I got engaged to Isla, so please, don't believe fake news or rumors. Some people nodded. Others looked unsure. A woman in the crowd whispered, but where's the bride? Just then, the doors opened. Everyone turned. Ayla walked in, wearing her white wedding dress torn slightly at the bottom, but still glowing. Her eyes were firm. Her face was calm. Her father, Rion, and Sarah followed behind. Gasps filled the room. Zion's face went pale. Isla, she raised her hand. Don't speak. The room went silent. She walked up to the stage and faced the crowd. There's something you all need to know, she said. Something I should have said before, but I was afraid. She took out her phone. This man, Zion, never loved me. He planned this marriage for money, for power. Zion laughed nervously. That's not true. She's confused. Isla tapped her phone screen. The video started playing again, the same video of Zion's voice. I'll get her father's shares after marriage. That's the goal. The hall fell into shock. Some people covered their mouths. Some stood up. Mr. Shah stepped forward. That contract he showed you is fake. I never signed such a thing. Zion stammered. You can't prove that. Sarah stepped onto the stage. I can, she said, because I have my own story, and my own evidence. She handed her file to a man in the front row, a lawyer guest. He flipped through the papers. This is serious. Rayan looked at the crowd. This isn't just one mistake, it's a pattern. He's done this before. Zion's smile disappeared completely. He looked around and saw people filming. Cameras everywhere. Every word was being recorded. Then he looked at Ayla, still standing strong. You think this will ruin me? He whispered. Ayl. I looked him in the eye. No, she said. You ruined yourself. For the first time, Zion looked afraid. Security guards moved closer. Someone had already called the police, but Ayla didn't care about revenge. She looked at the crowd and said one final thing. Today was supposed to be the start of my married life, but instead, it became the start of something better. A life of truth, a life without fear. And with that, she turned her back to Zion and walked away. Guests clapped. Some cried. Others just stood in silence, watching a broken wedding turn into a moment of power. Outside, as Ayla stepped into the sunlight, she took a deep breath. Rayan followed beside her. Are you okay? He asked gently. Ayla nodded. I think I finally am. But behind them, someone in the crowd pulled out another phone and texted, Phase 1 failed. Should we begin Phase 2? Ayla walked away from the stage as the hall filled with noise. Some guests clapped for her bravery. Some shook their heads in shock. Others were already whispering, recording, and posting everything online. Zion, still standing on the stage, looked frozen. His world had crashed in front of hundreds of eyes. He turned to his best friend Ramis. "Get the lawyer. We need to stop this." Ramis shook his head. "It's over. Zion, you've been exposed. That video, the girl from your past, it's all out now." Zion's hands clenched into fists. "I can fix this," he growled. "They think I'm finished. They have no idea what I'm capable of." Outside, Isla sat on a bench under a tree, holding her phone tightly. She had just watched her own speech go viral. Thousands of likes, comments, messages of support, but she wasn't smiling. Her hands were still cold. Rayan stood beside her. "You did it," he said. "You told the truth in front of everyone." Isla nodded slowly. "Then why do I still feel like something is wrong?" Just then, her father, Mr. Shah, came out of the hall. His phone was in his hand, and his face was pale. Papa Isla stood quickly. He looked at her with worry. "Someone just tried to access my company's bank account." Isla's eyes widened. "What? Who?" Rayan frowned. "Zion." Mr. Shah nodded. "I think he's trying to hurt me financially now. Since the wedding plan failed, Ayla's heart dropped. He's not stopping." Suddenly a man in a black suit walked up to them. He handed a small envelope to Mr. Shah and left without a word. Mr. Shah opened it. Inside was a small USB drive. A note was attached. "If you don't stay silent, this goes online." Ziala took the note and read it twice. "What is he talking about?" Mr. Shah looked confused. "I have no idea." Rayan took the USB. "Let's check this." But not here. Back inside the hall, Zion stood alone now. Most guests had left. Some stayed behind to gossip. Others waited for drama. Zayan watched everything like a wolf in the dark. Then, a tall man with a trimmed beard came to him. "Sir, phase 1 failed," the man said in a low voice, "but we can still release the backup video." Zion gave a cold smile. "Do it." Meanwhile, Isla, Rayan, and Mr. Shah sat in a quiet office inside the building. Rayan plugged the USB into a laptop. A video started playing, a security camera. From a parking lot, a man Mr. Shah was seen handing a file to another man. They were shaking hands. Rayan paused the video. "Who is that?" Mr. Shah leaned closer. "That's not me." Isla looked confused. "What?" Mr. Shah's eyes widened. "That's someone pretending to be me." Rayan zoomed in. The man in the video looked very similar, but not exactly the same. Rayan said, "They," Kyla whispered. "They're trying to say my father made a secret deal. That you gave Zion money or shares." Mr. Shah shook his head. "This is blackmail?" Rayan looked serious. "Zion's trying to destroy your father's name now. Since he couldn't ruin your life, he's attacking your family's reputation." Isla stood up. "We have to stop him. This isn't just about a wedding anymore. It's war." Mr. Shah sighed. "But how?" "He has money, power, connections." Rayan stared at the screen. "Then we expose him in a bigger way. Not just here. We take this to the media, to the court." Isla looked at her father. "Are you ready for that?" Mr. Shah nodded. "For you? Yes, I'll fight." Isla turned to Rayan. "And you?" Rayan gave a small smile. "I started this to help you. I'll end it standing beside you." But just then, a new message popped up on Ayla's phone. It was a video link, again from an unknown number. She opened it slowly. The video started playing, and her heart stopped. It was her. In her college days, standing with Rayan, laughing, smiling, talking. But the voiceover in the video said this was never about helping. Rayan planned this from the start. Ayla looked up at Rayan. "Where did this come from?" Rayan's face changed. He looked shocked. "I don't know. I swear, I don't know." Isla stared at him. "Why do they have a video of us?" Rayan shook his head. "I don't know. I never told anyone we were close in college." Mr. Shah stood up. "What's going on?" Rayan looked scared now. "Someone's trying to frame me." Isla's eyes filled with doubt. "Or maybe," she whispered, "you've been playing both sides all along." Isla stood still, holding her phone tightly. On the screen was the video of her and Rayan from college, smiling, talking, happy. But the voiceover said something else. Rayan knew her from the beginning. He got close for a reason. He planned it all. Rayan took a step forward, shocked. "This is a lie. Isla, you have to believe me." Isla looked into his eyes. "Then why didn't you tell me we knew each other before?" Rayan froze. "Because I thought you didn't remember me, and I didn't want to make it awkward." Mr. Shah stepped forward. "This isn't the time for secrets. We need the full truth." Rayan nodded. "Fine. Yes, we were close in college. I liked Isla, but I never told her. She was always surrounded by friends, by family. I felt invisible." He looked at Isla. "I only sent those videos because I wanted to protect you, not to win you, not to use you." Isla's eyes were full of tears. "Then why are they saying you're working with Zion?" "I'm not," Rayan said firmly. "This is Zion's game. He's trying to make me the villain now. First, he tried to destroy your life. Now he's trying to break the only people left around you." Suddenly, Sarah, the girl Zion had once betrayed, entered the room, holding her phone. "Stop everything," she said. "You need to see this." She opened a message she just received from an unknown number. "Finish the story. Say Rayan helped Zion, or your brother's medical report goes online." Sarah looked terrified. "They're blackmailing me too now." Rayan shook his head. He's spreading fear like poison, turning everyone against each other. Mr. Shah's phone rang. It was a journalist friend. What now? He answered quickly. The voice said, we've received anonymous documents that say you and Rayan tried to frame Zion using fake videos. They even have a lawyer, ready to speak publicly. Mr. Shah looked at Rayhan then Ayla. He's already turning the story around. He wants the world to think we're the liars. Ayla sat down. Her mind was spinning. Maybe we lost. She whispered. No. Rayan said softly. We haven't lost. Not yet. He opened his phone and played something. An audio file. Voice came through the speaker. Even if she finds out, I'll flip the story. She'll look crazy. Her dad will be ruined. Rayan will take the fall. Everyone in the room looked shocked. Rayyan said. I had recorded this weeks ago when I visited Zion's office to collect my last paycheck. I thought I'd never need it, but I kept it just in case. Ayla looked at him, tears in her eyes. You really were trying to protect me. He nodded slowly. I never wanted anything from you, Ayla. I just wanted you safe. Sarah whispered. This audio can destroy him. Mr. Shah stood up. Let's do it. Let's show the world who Zion really is. Later that evening, Ayla, Rayan, and Mr. Shah walked into a news studio. They were invited for a live interview after their story had gone viral. The reporter welcomed them and said, many people are still confused. Did Zion really try to trap this family? Or is this a big drama? Ayla spoke clearly into the mic. This is not a drama. It's the truth. Rayhan played the audio recording live. Zion's cruel words filled the air. Again, gasps filled the studio. The reporter turned to the camera. This changes everything. Within minutes, the clip hit social media. It exploded. Zion's world fell apart. His company's stock dropped. Sponsors pulled out. News channels covered the scandal. A lawyer confirmed the fake contract. Multiple girls came forward, sharing similar stories. Even Zion's father released a statement. My son's actions are shameful. We will not protect him. Police issued a notice for Zion's arrest on fraud and forgery. Back at home, Ayla sat quietly on her terrace. The city lights blinked in the distance. She was finally free. Rayan came outside with 2 cups of chai. I brought you tea, he said gently. She smiled. Thank you for everything. He sat beside her. You were so brave, Ayla. She looked down. I wasn't. I almost believed I was alone. Rayan shook his head. You were never alone. You just forgot how strong you are. She looked at him for a long moment. What now? He smiled softly. Now you live your life. On your terms. Ayla sipped her tea, closed her eyes, and whispered, for the first time in a long time, I feel free, but far away. In a small room, Zion sat in the dark, watching the news. His eyes were full of rage. And beside him was a new folder, labeled The Morning Sun rose over the city. For the first time in weeks, Ayla woke up feeling light. No pressure, no lies, no wedding to fake. She looked out the window and smiled gently. Downstairs, her father, Mr. Shah, was on a call with his lawyer. Yes, he said. Press charges for fraud and blackmail. Zion must answer for everything. He hung up and turned to Ayla as she walked in. Good morning, Beta, he said. She smiled. Good morning, Papa. They hugged quietly. Mr. Shah said, I'm proud of you. Not many people have the courage to stand alone in front of the world. Ayla held his hand. I wasn't alone. You stood with me. So did Rayan. Mr. Shah smiled. He's a good man. Just then, the doorbell rang. Ayla opened the door. Rayan stood there with a soft smile and a box in his hands. I brought sweets, he said. Justice tastes better with Mathio. They all laughed for the first time in days. They sat together and sipped chai. Rayan looked relaxed, but Ayla could see something in his eyes, something still bothering him. Is everything okay? She asked. He nodded slowly. Almost. Ayla frowned. Almost. Rayan leaned forward. I got a message last night, he said. From an unknown number. He pulled out his phone and showed her. She thinks it's over, but we never forget. Mr. Shah leaned forward. He's still trying. Rayan nodded. Even after everything, he's planning something. Ayla took a deep breath. Let him try. I'm not afraid anymore. Rayan smiled. That's the Ayla I remember. Just then, the news started playing on TV. The reporter announced, Zion Khan was arrested this morning while trying to leave the country. Authorities found fake documents, digital evidence, and records of blackmail in his apartment. Mr. Shah exhaled deeply. It's over. Rayan looked at Ayla. You ready for a new start? Ayla looked out the window. The birds flew freely in the sky. She nodded. Double quotes. Yes. This time, I choose my own life. 1 year Laterla stood on a small stage at a women's college holding a mic. She wore a simple white outfit and a peaceful smile. She looked at the audience. Of young girls, I once thought my life was over when my wedding broke, she said. But that day, I was actually saved. The girls listened closely. I want all of you to know something, Ayla continued. You don't have to stay silent when something feels wrong. Your heart knows the truth. Listen to it. Claps filled the room. Rayan stood in the back, recording her speech with pride in his eyes. After the event, they walked together through the garden. Ayla smiled. It feels strange to speak about it now, like it happened in another life. Rayhan said. It wasn't another life. It was the moment your real life began. They walked in silence for a while, then Rayhan stopped. I have something to ask you, he said quietly. Ayla turned toward him. He held out a small envelope. Don't worry, he smiled. It's not a proposal, it's an invitation. She opened it. It was a flyer. Ayla Foundation opening ceremony, helping women speak up, heal, and start again. Her eyes filled with emotion. You're opening a foundation, she asked. We are, he said. You inspired it. Now let's help others the way you helped yourself. Ayla nodded slowly, tears shining in her eyes. This is what I was meant to do. They stood together under the warm sun. Don't lies. No fear. Just truth. Just freedom. Just a new beginning. Far away, in a cold prison cell. Zan sat against the wall, broken and silent. A guard slid a newspaper through the bars. Zion picked it up. On the front page was a photo of a at the college. The headline read, Bride who walked away now helps thousands. Zion stared at it, and for the first time, even he knew. He lost.